Welcome back in, listeners. It's Sunday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns podcast, presented by Harrison Williamson Cross Country Mortgage. Man, the Gamecocks found a new way to stab a spear through our hearts yesterday as they fall 31-30 in College Station to the number 3 Texas A&M Aggies. We all saw it. We were all watching. It was 30-3 at halftime, and the Gamecocks have an epic collapse that has never happened. I think teams were in this particular scenario, or maybe not ever, but I think
it was dating
the stat was
to 2004. The stat is since
286-0.
286-0 if they're up by 27.
Yeah. So let's dive in and talk about it, though. As disappointing as it was, Gamecocks did some great things in the first half. So why don't you kick us off, Thomas? Talk about what we witnessed yesterday.
Well, I think that's the thing that makes me the most insane, because the team that we saw in the first half is kind of the team that I think that we all expected to see going into this season. You know, that is the team that I believe that we were promised or thought we were about to get all off season. You know, maybe in the off season we expected the team to be more offensively dominant and the defense lag, but like we were dominant on both sides of the ball. And we were thumping the currently ranked third best team in the country, who is now still undefeated. So like that is the ceiling of what we thought this team could be. We had a bye week to prepare. I think the bye week was definitely beneficial. It seemed like we were fresh. Seems like we were as healthy as we've been in a while. We had a new play caller, but I'll say this: I don't really feel like the scheme or the play calling was that different than we have had all season. There was one third down conversion where we had a trips bunch, and it was a route concept that got Jaden Sellers open it was like a corner route to the sideline, and he just came wide. He came wide open. That was the only play that I watched. I was like, oh, that seems new. That must be a Fury thing. But in terms of like, we had that explosive play action little dump to the tight end to Dingle. That's a play we've run multiple times this year. And it's a play that we ran in the second half and it didn't work. I thought that, you know, the run plays and the times that we were choosing to run the ball were relatively similar to what Shula had been doing too, but it was just being blocked better, and the running backs were breaking tackles and falling forward. Another change that I noticed, Juwan Howell was playing. He hadn't really played much this season, and I don't think that Faison got a touch until the end of the first half, if not the second half. It was Fuller was the starter, and we saw Howell in the game more than we've seen him any other game this year.
Yeah.
So that was those were the main changes to me. But I don't really think that we changed that much. So like this kind of the notion that we weren't that far away that Beamer's kind of been saying all season, I don't think is really that untrue. I thought that Lenoris was seeing the field better. Like I had complained about a couple times earlier this season, his decision making when it came to when to give it, when to keep it, and on all of the kind of option stuff it felt like he was always making the wrong decision. In the first half, he was making all the right decisions. He was giving it when it should be given. He kept it. Uh, Everything was just really crisp and looking great, which just makes the second half collapse that more frustrating because it proves that, yeah, we could still stand to be much better on the offensive line. It would have been great to have brought in, another playmaker, wide receiver, Conception, who I'm sure most Carolina fans know about. He played at NC State last year. I know he was a guy that both you and I wanted to go after in the portal this offseason. He was, he's at A&M. And, he did drop that touchdown, but he made a lot of great plays for them. So getting him or getting a guy like him definitely would have helped the offense. But we have enough on the team right now to be very, very good. But it just has, for whatever reason, not clicked this season. And I don't have an explanation as to why. Like, we've fired 2 offensive coaches now. And, I think that if we had gotten more out of the OC hire than we got out of Shula, this season would have been significantly better. But I do feel like we kind of lack the player leadership that we had on last year's team, because once A&M seized the momentum in the second half, they really never, like, it was clear to me that we tightened up and tensed up, and just there was no one on our team on the sidelines capable of calming the guys down and just, yeah, I'll let you tap in.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm with you. I don't know that there was really that much different from a play calling perspective. I know in the first half because we were kicking ass, everyone's like, "Oh my God, like we should have fired Shula on, after Virginia Tech game," or, like. But other than, I mean, I loved on the first drive the double reverse and Brian Rowe hits Lenoris, and that was an explosive play. I think it went for 21 yards or so. Lenoris probably could have gotten more, but he opted to slide as the defenders engaged him. But I thought that was a nice wrinkle, something that we have, some trickeration that we haven't seen under Shula. But like, it was still in the pivotal play to me. I mean, there was plenty that you could point out, but the pivotal play to me was 4th and 1, and we call a timeout, and then we run it up the middle and get stuffed. It's like, where's the creativity there? Or like you said, Lenoris was reading the game very well in the first half, keeping it when he should have, giving it when he should have. And so maybe that was supposed to be a read option. I don't know, but we run it right up the middle, and that's, I mean, it was like, if you were living under a rock the last 2 weeks and didn't know Mike Shula got fired, you would have said, "Oh, Mike Shula is still coaching for South Carolina after that play." And so I don't really think, Fury didn't do much to impress me, but I mean, it's just a huge indictment on, like you said, the leadership of the team from a player perspective, as well as on Shane. I mean, anyone who was in this guy's corner, like, it's tough. It's pretty much Beamer Island at this point. You're going to be, he's kind of out there now, and I think, the fan base is just really, like, just devastated. And of course there's the clip of him hyping up the crowd at halftime, and I don't really. That obviously backfired and looks bad in hindsight, but I don't really put too much into that as far as just. I mean, Beamer's an emotional guy, and he was showing emotion at half. We played a spectacular half. Like you should be fired up after doing what we did in the first half, but we didn't hold it together, and we lost in historic fashion. And it's just, I mean, it's not comprehensible. Like, just another way to just, like, bro, we were watching it in downtown Greenville, and I got home and I just sat in the shower and just let the water cascade over my head. Like, I was just like, what the how did that just happen? Like, and I was sitting there, we were watching it, 1 a.m. And shout out to Todd, because Todd's a listener of this podcast, even though he's an A&M fan, and he enjoyed our preview episode, and we were talking about it at the place downtown while we were watching the game, and I was like, man, just keep watching. We might screw this up. Like we are. It wouldn't shock me if we screwed this up and we ended up doing it. I mean, I got very frustrated with the defense in the second half because we've been and the defense has been good this year. And the defense has made a lot of plays, and hell, that's half the reason, or maybe even more than half the reason we had such a great first half was the defense gets Dylan just freak play. Like, that was awesome. And then Nick scoop and score. But then, Lenoris, bad pass, ball gets picked, defense bails us out with an interception. We don't do anything, or excuse me, they had a couple missed field goals where we kind of broke, but bend don't break, and they ended up missing field goals. Like, the defense played great, but like we just you would think too. I mean, yes, we didn't score a single point in the second half, which is bad and an indictment of the offense, but our offense has been bad the entire year. And our offense really even wasn't, phenomenal in the first half. I mean, Nick had the 80-yard play that was pretty much all him. I was actually calling for us to be conservative in that spot, up, with that lead, and just trying not to make a mistake. And Nick just makes a hell of a play because he's a freak. We don't score in the second half, but I feel like a good unit isn't gonna give up we have them 4th and 12. It's 30-3, their first possession of the second half, and we have them 4th and 12. And Marcel Reed breaks the pocket. It's one-on-one with Fred Johnson. I understand that is a very hard play to make for Fred Johnson in the middle of the field, one-on-one with an athletic guy like Marcel Reed. But we don't make that play. They end up scoring on that possession. We drive it down. We give it up on 4th down. We get stuffed. They drive it right down our throats in 3 minutes. We go 3 and out. We give up a 76-yard pass, and then off of they get a hold, and then find a way to score on a 14-yard touchdown pass the next play. Like, so it wasn't even like we were giving up points, and we were giving up points quickly. Like, we weren't even like making them work in that third quarter. And I'm trying to look this play up on YouTube TV because one of the other plays that I thought was a very pivotal moment in the game, it was the first play of the fourth quarter when we were up 6 still. And Nick had made the great play on the punt. to get the punt down at the 1 yard line. And so despite everything that had just happened in the third quarter, you're like, okay, they got to go. We're up 6. They got to, go 99 yards. Potentially this is an opportunity to get our defense or give our offense a short field, and maybe we can at least get 3 and make it a 2-possession game. And I'm trying to look it up on YouTube TV, but I thought we got held. Our D-line got held in the end zone. And I was doing this.
I was screaming hold before. So, all right, let me jump back in because I want to touch on 2 things, and then I will piggyback off what you just said. On the 4th and 1 play call, I wasn't thrilled with what we actually called. And as far as the decision to go for it there instead of kick the field goal, I promise you, Gamecock fans, had we kicked the field goal and made it and had 33 points at the end of the game when they fumbled the ball, they would have scored a touchdown. That's just how it would have happened. So that is not what lost us the game. We needed to score another touchdown to win that game or just not allow 4 touchdowns. But us not kicking the field goal there, in my opinion, does not change the outcome of the game. In terms of Beamer, taunting the A&M fans on the way into the locker room, I love talking shit. I think talking shit is almost half of why you are a fan and why you follow a team. I think only cowards wait until the end of the game to chirp their friends or chirp their rivals. I talk shit the whole game, throughout the game, year round, coming off of a win, coming off of a loss. I sent out 50 texts over the course of the first half and halftime. And yeah, I've been getting blown up for the last 48 hours. No one knows when we lose more than I do. I get texts from people I can't even remember talking shit to from 6 to 9 months ago that have been waiting to talk shit to me because they are pussies and they only talk shit when they're up. But you run your mouth. That is the name of the game. So I don't give a shit what Beamer does. But you have to fucking win or you're going to look like a jackass, which he does. But if we won, I don't care. I don't care what he does. The play that you're referring to, they did hold our D-line. And not only did they hold our D-line, that was the softest pass interference call on Judge Collier I've ever seen. So, yes,
it was bad.
Not only should, at the very least, 2 flags should have been thrown. It should have been offsetting penalties, and it should have been 1st and 10 at the 1 yard line again, where we have a chance to, get a safety or just stuff them and cause a short field. But no, they don't call the hold on us. They call a PI. We give them space, and then they hit 3 explosive pass plays in a row, go right down the field. But yeah, I don't know if Clayton changed up his strategy with a lead or not. I don't know if our offensive play calling got more conservative or not, but we found a way to fucking lose a game in a manner that has not been done in 20 years. So I'll let you jump back in on that one play, but I think that after that, we just need to talk about where this leaves us and the outlook on the program moving forward.
I was just trying to pull up the play for people to see it that we're watching on YouTube, but we're not allowed to do that. So anyways, but yeah, you clearly see Brownlow Denley get penetration, and he gets grabbed right here, and his whole body twists. It's like, how does the umpire not see that?
I was screaming hold before Marcel Reed even threw the ball.
Right, and Judge barely touches Concepcion, and so that just gets them out of trouble. After we made a great play to down the punt, it seemed like when everything was going wrong in the third quarter. That was the only thing that we ever did in the second half before that last turnover to kind of seize a little bit of momentum back. And then it just got immediately erased. Right. And so I mean, just very frustrating. Obviously, again, we still have to make the plays. There were plays to be made, and we didn't make them. So, like, I'm not saying that call cost us the game, but like that was a huge moment where we were crumbling, and we do something that deserved to be. We get the penetration, we deserve to get the call, and then they call some ticky tack bullshit on the outside and give A&M get A&M out of trouble, and then Marcel Reed just diced us. Diced us down the field, and like that was, I mean, that sucked. Especially, and I'm all for extending Clayton White and all the defensive staff, and they've done a great job. But it hurt to see our best unit just get dog walked in the second half. It wasn't like the offense was fumbling and giving short fields, and I mean they were just driving it down our throat. Just it was I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I always say it's a tale of two halves, but usually that it's because we're losing in the first half, and I'm talking about the comeback. But we got by my own saying, and that was a very tough one yesterday, and just theme of the season, disappointment. So yeah,
You ready to zoom out, talk big picture?
Where do we go from here?
So yeah, I mean, I'm about as close to out on Shane as I've been. If we lose to Clemson, I'm out. But with that being said, the job market has not changed. If anything, it's like Elko got an extension. Ole Miss beat Florida. Ole Miss is almost guaranteed a playoff spot. I have never been more sure that Lane is going to stay at Ole Miss as I am right now. There are not enough coaches to fill the positions that are currently open. I don't want to pay a buyout. I don't want to try and find the next coach in this cycle. But if Shane loses to Clemson, I will be ready to move on from him as quickly as possible whenever it makes sense. If we beat Coastal and beat Clemson, and he can retain the defensive staff, he can keep Dylan Stewart, he can talk Lenoris into coming back, and he can hire a good OC that people are satisfied with, he will still have to win his way out of this. Like, if he gets to come back next year, he needs to win 8 or more games to get out of hot water. Like, I don't give a fuck about grades. I don't give a fuck about the brotherhood. I don't give a fuck about any of this Justin King feel good family culture bullshit. His whole brand, I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck that he likes South Carolina. I don't give a fuck about any of the goodwill that he has, established with the fan base. He has to win now. And he has to win, really, in my opinion, for the next 2 seasons to get the temperature to come back down. Because it's just like, dude, like, it's none of that matters if you lose. None of it matters. Like, the things that people like about Shane don't matter if you lose. The things that people don't like about Shane don't matter if you win. And like I'll say it again. I don't care if he was taunting the A&M fans, but you lost the game. Like,
yeah.
And it wouldn't. And if he hadn't taunted the fans and he had been, the model of decorum and political correctness and diplomacy, but you lose the game, well, I don't care if you were diplomatic. You fucking lost. Like, You have to win. That is what it is. That is what it is. And it's just, yeah, like I am just so and another reason that I just don't want to fucking fire him is because I just mentally and emotionally am not ready to have to accept that we're about to have to do another fucking rebuild. Granted, rebuilds don't have to be as long or as time consuming as they used to be in the NIL and portal era if you nail the hire. But I mean, if let's say we lose to Coastal or lose to Clemson and Donati pulls the trigger and we clean house, we're going to lose everybody good. Like Dylan is gone. Obviously, Lenoris would leave. And if the next coach that we hired didn't have a starting quarterback ready to come in with him, with the schedule that we have next year, we're looking at a very similar year next year, if not worse. So it's just like the ramifications of what I believe it would mean to start over. That is what I am not ready to sign up for. I would much rather fucking Shane figure out a way to just win the next two games and keep the core of our team together. We have a good high school class. We can hit the portal again. And if Lenora stays, I don't think it's that hard of a flip. Like, clearly we're not good, but we're close to being good. We're really, really good for at least half of a game. If we can just get a little bit better, I think a lot of these games that we pissed away this year swing our way next year. So yeah, I mean, Shane has to win his way out of this, but he has the Clemson game left before he completely loses me.
Yeah, I think I am of the opinion after yesterday's results, he's coaching for his job against Clemson and Coastal. I mean, we're kind of assuming we're going to beat Coastal. I think we will beat Coastal.
I don't
But
think it needs to be said that he has to beat Coastal. Like, obviously, if he loses a Coastal, he's gone. Like, and we're beating Coastal. If not, then yeah, get everybody the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so I mean, I do think now he's going to be coaching for his job in the Clemson game because, yeah, like I said, the portion of the fan base that was still in his corner, they have left his corner after yesterday for the most part. That's how I feel as someone who has tried to be in his corner through this rough season, and it's tough to logistically, and I'm not saying it's that people could argue either way, but I just think it's tough to fire your coach the season after you give him a extension. I would rather monetary resources be put into other things than a coach's buyout. And I do think he can beat Clemson and retain finish this class strong and go get some guys in the portal. And we aren't too far away. To your point, we've been in a lot of these games. I mean, this is the third game where we've had a ranked team, a lead on a ranked team in the fourth quarter. Like, we had Bama on the ropes. We had A&M on the ropes. Those teams are number 3 and number 4 as of yesterday. I know Bama lost to OU, but those are, two elite teams or perceived as elite teams in the country. And we had leads on them in the fourth quarter. Like, we aren't finishing games, and, it's like Beamer's one of his principles is like win the fourth quarter, and like that's totally backfired. Typically, I mean, I do agree with him. We've been pretty good in fourth quarters, close games under Beamer, but we're just not doing it this year. And so, yeah, big picture, I don't love the idea of going into this offseason with a shakeup of that proportion where we are trying to find a brand new coaching staff. We're trying to keep our, because Dylan cannot go to the NFL. Like, he has to stay in college. Lenoris could go to the NFL, but like Dylan
It
and
is
some of these
my
younger guys that are
it
talented
is my
need to
opinion.
be.
It is my opinion from what I have heard that if Sterling Lucas is on our staff, Dylan will stay. But if we fire Beamer and fire Clayton, and Clayton goes and gets a head coaching job or goes and gets a defensive coordinating job somewhere else, I believe whether Clayton is a head coach or a DC, Clayton would take Sterling with him and Dylan would go with them as well. So, for those Gamecock fans that want to fire everybody, we will lose Dylan if we do that. If we fire Beamer, I don't know what the chances are that Lenoris will return. And I don't even know, there's probably some ignorant Carolina fans that don't think that would matter and they don't want Lenoris back. Well, let me tell you, he's struggled this season and he hasn't been what we'd hoped he would be, but he is absolutely, him coming back is the best possible option we could possibly wish for at the quarterback position. There is no one that is going to be in the portal on our roster or in high school that could be a better quarterback for us next year than Lenoris would be. And I believe that if we fire Beamer, our chances of whatever it is to retain him go to zero. So I'll just put that out there. Sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah, yeah. I am with you. I think one thing on Lenoris, and I think he's been shielded by basically our offensive line and Mike Shula sucking. But we talked about it a couple weeks ago, or maybe I can't remember if this was a text conversation between us, Thomas, or if I actually said it on the podcast. But this man needs more time to develop. He is not NFL ready. I mean, the flashes obviously are probably what have the NFL scouts drooling, but I mean, just some simple throws, like he's
at this point,
not refined. He's
at thi-
not refined, and another year of development in college, I truly believe, will be better for him than trying to go to the NFL now and trying to sharpen his teeth against NFL defenses. He needs to develop
at
more.
this point, I'm less worried about the NFL and more worried about him just going to another program for a big NIL check. And to your, I agree. Like, if he were to go to the NFL, the team that would be drafting him would be drafting his traits. They would not be drafting him, in my opinion, wisely if they expected him to start as a rookie. It'd be a team that is taking him knowing that they need to develop him more and polish him up, but they love his traits and his ceiling and what he could be. But yeah, I couldn't agree more that another year of college can only improve his development and his game and his ability to have success once he gets to the league. I just hope that he chooses to do that with us and not, I think all of the rumors about Miami were just complete fabrication. But it is true that whether Beamer is fired or not, if Lenoris does not declare for the draft, there will be teams that come calling to him again this offseason. And most of them will probably have more money than we do. So if he's like, we're going to have to pay him again. But if he stays with us, it's not going to be because of money. It'll be because he wants to stay close to home, play with his brother, finish what he started, yada, yada, yada. All this fucking Beamer culture, love your brother bullshit is going to be put to the test. And I think that we're going to see how much it is just a show or not, depending on who we lose to the portal and like how much this team stays together in the offseason.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I said that a couple episodes ago, and these are the
But I mean,
times when your culture's tested, when you're having
up until this point in time, we only have one decommitment and one meaningful transfer. So like, there hasn't been some, wave of high school players. Like, none of our high profile offensive players were really shaken by either of the offensive coaches being fired. And, you don't see a bunch of players like sitting out of games to preserve their red shirts to get ready to go transfer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that hasn't really happened. So like, up until this point, it kind of looks like there is a little something to the culture. So hopefully hopefully all the shit that he says in the press conferences is true. And there is confidence internally with amongst the team and the players that they are close. And they're like, hey guys, like, this year wasn't our year, but if we come back and we stay together, like, everything that we wanted to accomplish this year is still on the table next year.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be put to the test, and man, we have to beat Clemson.
Yeah,
we have to beat Clemson.
I mean, that it's a joke that I tell some of my other buddies. In my opinion, the Clemson game counts as 3 wins. So if we beat Clemson, we're really finishing the season
7-7.
7-7. Which, like, I know that's not a real thing. Like, we still wouldn't go to a bowl, but like, that's how it would feel.
Yeah.
It would make the off season so much more palatable for me. Like, I can really, as disappointed as I am right now, and I am with this season, if we go back to back on them for the first time since 2012, 2013,
we haven't beat them in Willie B since 2013.
Yeah, and that's something that I am reminded of fairly regularly by a certain someone. I think you know who he is, Beck. And I would love to be able to tell him to shove it up his ass and him not be able to say that to me anymore. So, yeah, this game, that game will always mean a lot. Like I said, I talk shit. Like, this whole rent-free notion is a stupid internet thing. Like, no, dude, you don't live rent-free in my head. We're fucking rivals. This is what we do. I hate you. You hate me. I take every opportunity to kick you while you're down, and you do the same to me. Like, that's not, I don't have a weird obsession with you. This is what it is. We're rivals. Like, the rent-free card should be played for Tennessee fans. We live rent-free in Tennessee fans' head ever since the 2022 upset. It's like, yeah, I hate Tennessee. We're old SEC East rivals, but they're not our biggest rival, and we're not theirs. But you cannot find a tweet on South Carolina that doesn't have a Tennessee fan somewhere in the comments. That is rent-free. Me talking shit to Clemson fans about Clemson and South Carolina, that's a rivalry. And so, yes, this game matters.
Yeah, I'm trying to be partying at touchdowns all Saturday afternoon after that game. So we need to win that game, because there ain't a lot of positive things from this season, and that can be something that, like, like you said, make the offseason a lot more palatable and have something to be joyful about with this year, and hopefully, we're not going to be in a bowl game now, so check that off the list. Like the list of things that matter is just dwindling every week. Like, it's coming down to beat our rival, beat the team we hate the most, give the fans, it's at home. Like, we haven't beat them in Columbia since 2013. Like, give the fans something to be happy about with this season. And then again, let's see the culture get tested. Let's finish strong recruiting wise. I mean, the fact that we aren't playing a bowl game, like, Beamer is going to be able to, as assuming we win, or not even, let's go beat Clemson, and then Beamer can get to work. Like, he can get to work in the portal. He can get to work rounding out the high school class. Like, he has nothing else to focus on, and also getting to work with the coaches.
I'm so glad that you bring that up, because that is another reason why trying to fire Beamer and hire a coach this offseason with all the movement is not a good play, because that puts us behind. If we don't have a head coach, how are we going to go get players in the portal? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If we keep Beamer, we have the jump on all the teams that are looking for a coach.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, there is a lot of logistics that it makes sense to keep him, despite, we've been talking about it all year. And I do think he ultimately, like, losing to Clemson could be what gets him gone. But I think we're going to win that game. So let's win that game. We'll keep him. Let's kick ass and have a kick ass off season. And then we'll see what he does next year. He comes out next year and we're sitting at 2-3 in the middle of October, and he's probably going to get canned mid-season next year. Like, he will be on a very, 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 very short leash next season. But we'll see what happens. Gamecocks, again, lose 31-30 to A&M. Horrible, horrible theme of the season. Disappointing Saturday for Gamecock fans, but we got Coastal next week, and then wrap the season against Clemson. So let's talk picks. DB Blitz. DB Blitz, as always, is sponsored by Hughley Insurance. Greer and Austin at Hughley Insurance will get you hooked up with anything for your home or car. Give those guys a call or go visit their website, HughleyInsurance.com. And remember, Hughley Insurance, bet on them. I was 4-1. My record is still pretty abysmal, but I am inching closer, and I think I might get the lead on you before the season ends. But I had a great day yesterday on the, from a betting perspective. The South Carolina winnings just felt I couldn't even enjoy those winnings hitting my Cash App. But obviously we covered, and everyone knows how that game went. Oklahoma beats Bama outright. The SEC, just a quick note, like, the SEC is getting very interesting. It looks like, because Bama they had one loss, but they had one loss out of conference to FSU. They're still, even with this loss to Oklahoma, I think they're still on track to make the SEC championship. And now A&M also, I think, is in, whether they lose to Texas. Georgia, I guess if A&M loses to Texas, that creates a three-way tie with Georgia.
What's the
But Oklahoma,
what's the tiebreaker? Is it like the highest ranked?
Ross, can you look that up real quick while we're talking? So yeah, like right now, A&M 7-0, Georgia's 7-1. Georgia's done with conference play, so they're locked in at 7-1. Ole Miss is 6-1. Bama's 6-1 now. So 4 teams right there that could get into the conference championship. Obviously, A&M's in the driver's seat because they don't have a loss, but I do think the tiebreaker scenario when it's more than when it's more than 2 teams, so they can't use head-to-head. I want to say it's maybe college football playoff ranking or some sort of common opponent metric. But I mean, Oklahoma with that win, I don't think they're going to be able to make the SEC championship, but they are now 8-2. They're very well positioned for the college football playoff now.
Yeah.
And
so I'll say this: if I were a Bama fan, I would be terrified because Auburn, I think, was going to be a tricky game for them no matter what, with it being at Auburn. But now that Auburn knows that if they win, they essentially knock Bama out of the playoffs, like that game is going to be a nightmare.
yeah,
Because they will know that. They will know going into the game based off of the rankings, hey, if we beat Bama, we knock them out. And that will be something that the coaches will know. And I'm talking about the Auburn coaches. The players will know. The whole stadium will know. So, yeah, and if Bama loses that game, then the SEC championship gets a lot cleaner. But then, yeah, I think Oklahoma would sneak in.
Yeah, it's very interesting too because you got Vandy there at 8-2. I mean, Bama fans need to pray that Georgia Tech beats Georgia because that is the thing that Bama has. They have the head-to-head over Georgia. But, I mean, you're looking at Bama. Oklahoma has the head-to-head over them when you're comparing resumes. Ole Miss has only 1 loss. A&M, even if they lose to Texas, is only going to have 1 loss. Bama has the Florida State
they have the worst loss.
They have the worst loss. So it is very conceivable that Bama they miss out on the college football playoff altogether, even
unless
if they
win
Auburn.
the SEC championship.
Correct. Yeah. Which again, I don't know what the all right, let's see. In the event of a tie for a place in conference championship game, the following procedures will be used for the following order. Head-to-head competition amongst the tied teams. Record versus all common conference opponents among the tied teams. Record against highest place common conference opponent in the conference standings. Interesting. Okay. Well, we might need to. I can't go through those scenarios right now, but that might be something interesting to go through and talk about on Wednesday's show. All the chaos in the SEC standings, but so back to the DB Blitz, sponsored by Hughley Insurance. Oklahoma wins outright, so obviously got the cover. Georgia beats the piss out of Texas. Love it. Kirby with the onside kick after they scored at the start of the 4th quarter, and then they dominated the 4th quarter. They ended up winning by 25. Texas just, I knew Georgia just kind of got that edge. Well, Kirby had a great quote.
He said, players want checks,
not physicality or something.
Not physicality. If you want to come here, you'll get a check, but we're still going to hit people.
Yeah, yeah. Kirby's the man. I hate to say it, but Utah, they beat the shit out of Baylor. And like I said, they needed to win that game in a big fashion. They're kind of sitting there as one of those weird teams that I don't think they can even I don't think they can get into the Big 12 championship. So they're relying on let's see. Yeah, they're 5-2 right now. BYU and Texas Tech are both, one loss in conference. So yeah, Utah is kind of that team on the outside looking in the college football playoff. So they really need a strong finish to get into the playoff, and so they did just that by whooping up on a mediocre Baylor team. Then my only loss of the weekend was Southern Cal versus Iowa. I thought Southern Cal would play better. Iowa jumped on them in the first half, and ultimately Southern Cal won, but they only won by 5. I think if they got off to a better start, they would have covered this game, because after the slow start, they did dominate the game for the most part. I think they scored like 19 unanswered points to win the game. So that was a tough loss. Hoping for 5-0, but got myself a 4-1 record this week. So it was obviously one of my better weeks of the year, and I am creeping closer to overtaking you in the standings.
I went 1-4. Um, I've completely lost sight of the board. Uh, I'm semi-retired, to be honest. But yeah, I'm sorry for if anyone tailed me this week. I apologize. I'll try to be better. But I didn't even after we lost. I didn't even track. My bet. I'm so borderline checked out on wanting to watch football or care about football right now that I'm still going to give out picks because we're sponsored by Hughley Insurance, but you might want to lay off my selections until I get the fire in the belly again. If we beat Clemson, I think that could kind of give me the shock to my system that I need to start seeing the board better.
Yeah, we need to finish strong. We need to finish strong. I think our goal at this point should be to both get above 500 for the season, and we'll consider that a win. But it was a tough day again for Gamecocks. Maybe the toughest day of the season so far. So again, this team always seems to find a new way to emotionally wreck us, and yesterday was a good one for the emotional distress, and that just sucked. Yesterday, the second half, we were on cloud 9 in the first half.
You know what really was just excruciating for me? So we obviously played at noon. I was at touchdowns. I had to work until 2 a.m. And they showed the recap of our game like 15 times. Like, because we have all the other games on. So, our game ends. I got the fucking, Bama Oklahoma game on, and then the Texas Georgia game on, and then the late night West Coast game. And they're showing the fucking recaps of the fucking games played that day. So I have to watch the Nick Harbor touchdown and then the A&M comeback 15 more times throughout the day, and I just want to go home and just close the bar and go to sleep. And I just have to sit there and keep working and then rewatch us lose every hour and a half.
Yeah. Yep. It was the story of the day. We were the victims, but hang in there, Gamecock Nation, and
Same time next week.
we'll be back. Yeah, same time next week. We got Coastal, so we'll be recording again on Wednesday, previewing the Coastal game and talking landscape, college football.
Hey, do you think we can get what's that kid's name? That's a Clemson fan, but he went to Coastal as our guest speaker.
Well, that's going to be a wrap on this episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And come see us at the bar. Thomas, he runs that thing.
I'm here.
So
I'm here
he'll be
daily.
there. Any listeners out there that are in town for the Clemson game, and you find me at touchdowns after the game, hopefully celebrating a win, mention the podcast, and I'll buy you a beer. How about that? So that's going to be a wrap on this episode. As always, appreciate everyone listening. Go Cox.
Go Cox.